What happens when you have a Scottish father and a Jewish mother and they have a child in Australia? No, you don't get an adorable, culturally significant marsupial like one of these guys. You get a pretty good Aussie soccer player in Jake Girdwood-Reich, who appears ready to make the jump from Australia's A-League to St. Louis City SC in the MLS. So if you had Australia on your international bingo card for St. Louis City and City 2, along with 4 of the countries that you see on this card in a perfect row, you would get a bingo. If someone hasn't beaten you to it already, that is. And this move is also significant because Aussie Scout on Twitter is reporting that this could break Sydney FC's all-time outgoing transfer record, which sits at about $1.1 million US. This might even be a record for St. Louis City SC as well, depending on how the financials work. And while there's plenty of intrigue with Girdwood-Reich's background and potential cost, the big question is, how will he fit into St. Louis City SC? Well, he'll be 20 years old when the transfer window opens, so he fits the profile of being a youngster that the club wants to develop. But Girdwood-Reich is also versatile. He can be a central midfielder, defensive midfielder, central defender, liker, commenter, and subscriber. Oh wait, those last 3 apply to you with this channel. Hopefully. Girdwood-Reich grew up in Sydney, Australia as a fan of Sydney FC. He even joined the Junior Blues at the age of 6, the club's junior pathway to the pros. The choice of Sydney FC was a simple one for Jake. His mother, the daughter of a Holocaust survivor, worked at UNICEF, and the organization became the shirt sponsors of Sydney FC. Girdwood-Reich also had a stint with the St. Johnstone Academy in Scotland and grew up a supporter of Scottish powerhouse Rangers, following his father's footsteps in that regard. Girdwood-Reich started as a central midfielder, but beginning this very season, he's primarily played out the back as a central defender and has proven to be very effective there. The 6'1", 165-pounder is willing to block shots as well as be physical, and he's not afraid to step up off the line and intercept the pass, often showing good instincts and timing in that regard. Perhaps that comes from his time as a midfielder where he had to cover more ground. In these clips, he shows he has the speed to chase down the ball, as well as be technical to not draw fouls in the process. Well, in most cases anyway. In 25 A-League matches this past season, he has 50 clearances, 37 interceptions, and 12 blocks. He's also better than 50-50 on his tackles, duels, and aerial duels. Girdwood-Reich was so effective that he was named to the Professional Footballers Australia Team of the Season. Impressive not just as a 19-year-old, but in his first season as a central defender. And remember, this is in Australia's top division, so he's not playing with Sunday leaguers. He has started 29 matches across all competitions and attracted the attention of the Australian national team, playing 3 matches for the under-23s this year. So things appear to have been going well for Girdwood-Reich in Sydney this year. He was playing for his boyhood club and was having a breakout season. So why leave? After he was promoted to Australia's under-20s, an article in Australian online publication JWire last year suggested that Girdwood-Reich has ambitions beyond Australia, and signing with St. Louis might be a step toward his future hopes of playing in the UK or Europe. More recently, Sydney FC captain Luke Bratton told the Australian Associated Press, quote, "He's had a great year and I can't see him being in Australia much longer. I think he'll go overseas," end quote. Bratton also called Girdwood-Reich one of the best one-on-one defenders he's come across in a long time. And that last part is important, and not just because it's coming from a peer who has also had a long career as a defensive midfielder, the position Girdwood-Reich used to play. St. Louis's defense has been, well, inconsistent this year. Oftentimes, it feels like the club needs Roman Berkey to bail them out time in and time out, and sometimes he does, but even Berkey has his limits. And part of those issues come from the fact that central defenders in St. Louis have had a hard time just staying healthy. Not even just this season, but since really they started playing. Josh Yarrow, Tim Parker, and Joachim Nilsson have missed extended periods of time. Kyle Hebert absolutely gives his best, but even he has limits. And Jake Nerwinski, who has played right back at times, has a whopping 24 minutes of game time in the MLS this season, and at the time of this recording, we're in mid to late May. But what do you think of Jake Girdwood-Reich? He seems like a very intriguing prospect on the rise, but does excelling in Australia's top league translate to MLS success right away? That's the thing about international football. You never really know how quality in one league translates to another until you take that leap of faith. Kind of like what St. Louis is doing with Cedric Teuchert of Hanover right now. At the very least, though, St. Louis appears to be sold on his breakout season down under, and you can make the argument he hasn't come close to hitting his ceiling yet, as again, he made Team of the Season in the Australian A-League as a 19-year-old playing his current position for the first time. Leave a comment below on your thoughts on Girdwood-Reich, and make sure to like and subscribe for more summer window updates for St. Louis City SC. This is your soccer zombie, Tom Franklin, and if you enjoyed this video, maybe you enjoy the video on the other signing that has broken out this week for St. Louis City SC. I talked about Cedric Teuchert right over here.